long time ago, in about 1960, my family and I lived in Liberia. Now, Liberia is in West Africa. It's an African country. And it's unusual because, listen to the name, Liberia. It's sort of like liberty, right? And I didn't know this until I started studying about it, but there was a group in the United States that decided at the end of the Civil War in the United States, when the Africans who had been captured and brought here to be slaves were freed, if they wanted to go back to Africa, they could go to Liberia. And so in Liberia, the government and the schools are all taught in English. So we didn't have to learn another language. So that was very good. And also in the tropics, you don't have winter and summer. They have, rainy season and dry season. And so this story happened at the end of a rainy season. And the children had to stay inside most of the time. And so this morning, I thought, I think it's dry enough that they can go outside and play. So the boys, the two boys that I had then, they went outside. And then I said to the girl who was working for me, why don't we take Ellen out? And she's in her crib. We'll just take the crib out, and we'll put that under the tree over here, under the mango tree. And I had a mosquito netting over it so she would be safe. And so then I turned and was going to go in the house for something when I heard one of the students calling, "Madam, madam, madam, there's a snake in the tree above Ellen's bed." And so I turned around and looked, and way up there, mango trees are big trees. And there was a snake curled around a limb. So I said to the student, "Go call Prof." Now, Prof is short for professor or teacher, and that's what they called him. And so he came quickly home, and in the meantime, I went up into the house, and we had a gun that we were keeping for a neighbor who was on furlough. And my husband was a good shot because he'd been in the Army, and he knew how to shoot. So he took the gun, and there were only 3 shells. So he took careful, well, first, of course, he put the shell in the gun. Then he took careful aim, and he shot, and he thought, I thought I hit that. But the snake just moved a little bit. And so then one of the students said, "Let me try. I'm a good shot." And so he gave him the gun, and he put in a shell, and he missed. So 1 shell left. And Prof took aim carefully. He missed. So now what were we going to do? I didn't want to live with that snake in the tree in my yard because, some of those African snakes are very poisonous. So anyway, one of the students said, "I know that there's a trader down the road who sells shells." So I thought, okay. And so Prof went and got the school's pickup. We didn't have our own car then, but we could use that if we paid mileage. And I and the children and the student got in too. I didn't want to stay there with that snake. And we went down the road and we found the trader. Now, if you have somebody who's selling things along the road, they don't have signs on their merchandise as to what it costs. You have to say, how much is this? And he did have shells. So he said, how much? Now I'm just going to guess. Don't remember. And he said, $10. And so Prof said, "Oh, no, that's way too much. I'll give you $5. But the trader said, "Oh, no, that's not enough. But I will let you have them for $9. And so then, of course, Prof said, "Well, then I will give you $6. Eventually, we had to pay $9 because that trader knew that we needed those shells, and he wasn't coming back down. So anyway, we got the shells. We got in the car, the pickup, and went back up to the school. And as we turned into the driveway going up into the school, there were about a dozen students across the road, and one of the boys had a stick. And on the end of that stick was a snake. And it was a 6-foot-long black mamba. That first shot had actually hit it, but it took a while for it to, unwind and fall down to the ground, where the students, of course, grabbed it and killed it. And so we were very, very, very grateful that that snake was killed. Now, I'm going to tell you one more short story, and this one I think will give you a smile. Prof came home very quickly once. He needed something. He jumped the steps 2 at a time. You know, he skipped over one. And one of the students there was, again, they're so sharp-eyed. He said, Prof, there's a snake on that step that you missed. And there was. And he might have stepped right on it. And so he ran into the house to try to find something to kill that snake with. And in the meantime, the students killed the snake. But pretty soon he came running out, and he had a rolling pin in his hands. And everybody laughed and laughed that he thought he could kill a snake with a rolling pin. But anyway, yeah, we were very, very thankful to the Lord for both times when we were saved from being bitten by a snake. And children, you too, the Lord will protect you as you pray every day, and I'm sure your parents pray for you too, that the Lord will protect you and be with you as you go about your day. So thank the Lord for his help and his blessing every day, every day. Okay, you can go back to your seats. And thank you, Lucky, for your help.